that update, and tonight we're asking the question on why should anybody actually begin to take credit this evening itself. And joining me on the debate, Hemant Oberoi, former head chef of the Taj group of hotels. Also joining me tonight is Suhel Seth, columnist. Shehzad Poonawalla in the studios with me, national spokesperson of the BJP. Vivek Srivastava, political analyst. Kamru Choudhury, political analyst, Congress supporter. Ameeque Jamei, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Also joining the show tonight, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, Sushant Sareen, senior fellow at the ORF. And as somebody who was present at the Taj that night, Hemant Oberoi, I would first like to ask you, what was that moment like when that attack took place? Because we've all covered that era. We've seen what happened. But clearly you were on the receiving end with the entire staff as well as the guests at the hotel. Can you recall that evening?
That evening, I'll never forget it in my life, because we were getting the news of, some street fight or gang war going on. And suddenly I get a call from one of my colleagues from Golden Dragon that, Chef, the shooting is going on. And I thought he was joking about it. I thought a film shooting was going on somewhere at Gateway. And then I heard another gunfire when he was talking. And that's the time we realized that, it's a serious matter. And he says a person was shot dead outside the Golden Dragon. And that's where we gave the instructions. I said, just switch off the lights, close the door. That's it. And I think they were quick enough to receive the instruction. They followed it in no time. And both the restaurants, we switched off the lights and closed the main door so that they couldn't see the guests. There were almost like about 80 to 100 people in both the restaurants at that time. And it could have been a massacre, actually. And
yes.
Then these people walked down to the poolside and they started shooting over there. Then the other two people came from the other side and they started shooting in the coffee shop where quite a few casualties were there. And that's where it started, the whole thing. And we had a wedding that night. We had the Unilever board meeting over there. And our first job was to make sure that, all our guests are safe. So all the team members, I think very unitedly, they rose to the occasion. And the security of the hotel, security head, the front office, everybody got into the action. And that's where you see the results that, we lost more of the staff and less of the guests that night.
Clearly salute those who laid down their lives in the line of duty, civilians doing that, as well as those braves who went out to protect Mumbaikars and anybody who was a visitor to Mumbai as well. So Suhel Seth, you were present in Mumbai that day. Probably a moment where your memory freezes. Is it a memory freeze for you from that evening? How do you recall that?
So let me tell you, to add to what Hemant has said, this is how the train of events happened. I was staying at the Taj and I went for Bachi Karkaria's son's wedding reception at the Colaba Aghiari. Who was I supposed to meet by the poolside? Sabina Singh Saikia. Sabina Sehgal Saikia, because Sabina was also staying in the hotel, attending the same function. When I reached the Colaba Aghiari, we were in round 2 of the seating. When I was coming out to come back to the Taj, I get a call from the concierge, Satish Gaikwad, who says there is some kind of shooting going on. I assumed it must be a gang war. So I called up people at the President and said, look, there's a problem there. So I think if you can give me a room at the President. But this is exactly what happened. The Unilever board was meeting in the Sea Lounge. You had people in Masala Art. You had people at Golden Dragon. You had people in Souk. All of them. And you then had the valiant, brave, courageous people of the Taj who did not allow for guests on that evening to be hurt. It is a salute to the Taj. It is a salute to the Indians who were there as part of the Taj. And let me tell you, Navika, and permit me if I take extra time. The next day, the NSG came. But what was our government doing? You had the most inept Home Minister, Shivraj Patil, who had no clue of what was going on. Absolutely no clue. The reactions to the NSG, and this had happened, and here Rajiv Gandhi had moved the NSG to Palam. The NSG was then moved to Manesar. All the delays, Navika, it was a shame. You know, if it weren't for the brave people at the Taj or the brave people at the Oberoi or Tukaram Omle, people like him, we would have been destroyed. Now, let me tell you, when the Taj was reopened, Ratan Tata said famously, he says, we can be hurt, but we can't bow down. And the hotel reopened with greater vigor. It reopened, but the damage was severe. Rana today has to pay for his sins, and I don't give a damn about the goddamn justice system. These are people who have wreaked havoc on our country, on innocent people. To treat them like ordinary criminals and give them the value of justice is a farce, and is a farce to the memories. And Hemant will bear me out. Ratan Tata attended every single funeral, and it didn't matter whether the person was staff or guest. We lost young people. We lost Chef Rego's son. Ask Hemant that. We lost good people. We lost good people who were doing their job, who were going about their job in a nice, humane way. Terrorism picks and chooses innocent people. That's why it is evil. It is not brave or courageous. It is pure evil. I remember, and Hemant will bear me out, Sabina, poor thing, died in her suite. It was an asphyxiation. It was the fumes. My friend, Hemant's colleague, Karambir Khan, lost his wife and 2 children in that fire. What happened after that? The blame game. Even when we wanted to do things, we as a country, and I'm actually delighted that Narendra Modi said, and you played it in your opening remarks, that we will punish these people as we should. Hemant's team, the people at the Taj, all were welcome when we reopened the hotel. You ask him. And they all walked down a ramp, and we all stood there applauding their courage, applauding their belief, and applauding their Indianness.
Absolutely.
That night, India stood against terrorism. And tonight, India must decide to punish these rogues, these absolute scoundrels. And Pakistan must be punished. It is nothing but a bloody rogue state. It is not a country. It is a haven for terrorists who kill innocent people.
Absolutely.
If they have the courage, they should go to war, not kill innocent people. And Navika, it was on your channel, Times Now, that the maximum coverage of 26/11 happened. Innocent people whose lives were saved came out to thank the people at the Taj, to thank the people.
Absolutely. Everyone who showed the spirit and the spine to stand up clearly showed the spirit of this country, spirit of Mumbai that existed. But Kamru Choudhury, I refer to a statement issued by former Union Home Minister Mr. P. Chidambaram, where this statement issued today actually lists out all that the UPA government did so that Modi should not take the credit for Tahawwur Rana's extradition and landing in India today. I want to ask you, Kamru Choudhury, in the midst of the tears of those who were there that fateful night, who saw mayhem around them, what does this message show? You're talking about credit today? Kamru Choudhury? Really?
Navika ji, good evening. First and foremost, I believe you have missed out the initial part of the credit war that seemingly is taking place. It was first the fake news apologist, Mr. Amit Malviya, who tweeted about this credit war. He wanted to project a masculinity of Narendra Modi ji in extradition of Tahawwur Rana to face justice in India. The point number one. The point number two, when Chidambaram ji replied to what Amit Malviya was tweeting out in public domain, or what the news channels were projecting from last night about how Narendra Modi ji and Modi government helped in extraditing Tahawwur Rana from India. Basically, you say that it's a legal process, and turning that into a political victory dilutes the bipartisan and the international legal cooperation that was going on since 2009 till date. Even Tahawwur Rana or David Hadley or whatever the matter, they were convicted in American courts. They were extradited because of
Choudhury, in 2011, the American courts held Tahawwur Rana guilty of the Denmark attacks and not of the Mumbai terror attacks. So much for the legal battle that you fought. But Shehzad Poonawalla, please respond.
I would like to actually extend this opportunity to give credit to the Congress party and Kamru Choudhury. Take credit that Fali Major said, go strike those camps, and for vote bank purposes, as described in Barack Obama's book and the book of a Congress MP, you all did not take action because vote bank ki niti was above Rashtra Niti. Take credit for the fact that you all came out and immediately gave a clean chit. I'm not talking about Digvijay Singh holding a book saying RSS ki sajish hai 2611. A minister in the union government, and Suhel would remember, A.R. Antule, came out and said that this has not been done by Pakistan, it has been done by quote unquote RSS and policemen. Take credit for the fact that you have coined the terminology of Hindu terror, which was used by Pakistan to give itself a clean chit on international foreign platforms. Give credit to yourself for calling it a choti moti ghatna, as had been done by R.R. Patil, who was the then home minister in the state at that time. He said, बड़े बड़े शहरों में नाविका ऐसी छोटी मोटी घटनाएं तो हो ही जाती है. Take credit for saying Hafiz Saeed Saab also. But today it is fitting that on a day of Mahavir Jayanti, the person who has given, the Bhagwan who has given us the principles of Satya, Ahimsa, Nyay and truth, today on that day we are having this extradition. This is not an ordinary extradition, Navika. It actually shows the resolve of the Modi government that even if the terrorist who strikes us is in hell, we will go and chase him there. It shows the resolve that we will not put vote bank niti above Rashtra Niti, that we will ensure that we do not have a mook response, a mute response, but we will actually go inside the house and attack them, whether it is a surgical strike or the Balakot airstrike. It shows that we will never forgive and never forget. And Navika, therefore, in the last 10 years, remember the Times used to do the coverage every second or third week. Pune blast, Chennai blast, Bengaluru blast, Delhi blast, Ahmedabad blast, Varanasi blast. Today, all those blasts have stopped because it is no longer most favored nation status. It is Muh Tod Jawab status. Secondly, you would remember that even on the front of getting the extradition done, more than 18 fugitives have been got. Naxalism is down from 126 districts to about 6 districts and will be eradicated next year. We have seen the manner in which terrorism has been curbed after the removal of Article 370. This is when there is political Ichha Shakti, but Congress has not changed. Navika, today's statement of Prithviraj Chavan, former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, he says, I want the legal rights of Tahawwur Rana secured. At that time, they are talking about Afzal Guru and Yaqub Memon's legal and human rights, but nobody has ever spoken about the human rights of the victims, the 166 victims, 138 Indian and many of them foreigners. They are the ones who continue to say that do not make changes in the terrorist amendment acts and do not give powers to the investigative agencies. They question our forces. You have the left party here. At that time, the Chief Minister of Kerala, it was Mr. Achyutanandan, he said that if Mr. Sandeep Unnikrishnan was not a martyr, even a kutta would not go to his house. This is the way they have treated our martyrs and our victims then, and
Vivek
Srivastava,
Sandeep Unnikrishnan's father's on the show. I would refrain from bringing back those terrible, ugly memories of that time. But Vivek Srivastava, was it a weak government that you were supporting in 2008? Because the left parties were supporting the Congress government. That is what the UPA was all about. And may I please ask you, Barack Obama, in his book, A Promised Land, says, then there was the problem of Pakistan, and he's talking about India and Dr. Manmohan Singh. problem of Pakistan, its continuing failure to work with India to investigate the 2008 terrorist attacks on hotels and other sites in Mumbai had significantly increased tensions between the two countries, in part because Lashkar-e-Toiba, the terrorist organization responsible, was believed to have links to Pakistan's intelligence service. Singh had resisted calls to retaliate against Pakistan after the attacks, but his restraint had cost him politically. He feared that rising anti-Muslim sentiment had strengthened the influence of India's main opposition party, the Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party. Clearly written that it was vote bank politics that swung the decisions of the then Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh. I want to ask you, was this the weak-kneed government that for domestic politics actually did not even avenge the death of 166 victims? Was it a weak government that did not have the guts to respond to the bullets on India's soul?
It was a strong government. It was doing what it should, and we don't need Barack Obama's, statement on, deciding what the Indian Muslims thinks. Are we trying to say over here that if 26/11 happens, the Muslims of this country are happy? Are we trying to say that if we take action as a nation and Rana is brought in together, the Muslims of this country are sad? Are we trying to say that the Muslims of this nation, who are citizens of this country, they don't believe in the constitution and this nation and the happiness of the nation? It is a nonsense what Obama wrote, and it is even more nonsensical that we are discussing it. Are we trying to say that the Americans were right when they said the Chief Minister of Gujarat will not be given a visa for 10 years? He is guilty of the Gujarat riots. Should we justify it? Should we justify that the Modi was divider in chief? So let's not be selective.
Well,
it was a government, it was a good government, it was trying to work out well. Condoleezza Rice was here. She talked to Dr. Manmohan Singh. Russians were here. They talked, everybody talked, and people were trying to find
and
a way
only
out.
talking was done. There was no results that were shown. Vivek Srivastava, Anand Ranganathan raising his hand. Anand Ranganathan, Barack Obama doesn't matter. What was stated by Fali Homi Major doesn't matter. Vivek Srivastava ko to nothing matters to him. Nothing matters to him. So status quo was the correct decision by the Dr. Manmohan Singh government.
What his place is.
Good evening, Navika. On a very somber night, can I first begin by thanking Mr. Oberoi and Suhel for those heart-rending words. I think they were a fitting need, I would say, at this day when all those memories of 17 years ago come flooding back. I mean, it's really heart-rending. So thank you, Suhel, and thank you, Mr. Oberoi. Let me come to the topic immediately. Tonight is not about Vivek. Tonight is not about what one party did or failed to do. Tonight is about India. Tonight is about the lessons that we learned or did not learn. And tonight, more importantly, and this is what I'm going to concentrate on for the next couple of minutes allotted to me. Tonight is about what we can learn from Rana and what Rana can and cannot tell us. Let me start with what Rana cannot tell us. Rana cannot tell us the reasons why, despite Air Chief Dhanoa telling the then late Prime Minister Manmohan Singh that we should bomb Pakistan terror hideouts in the wake of 26/11, he was forbidden to do so. Rana cannot tell us the reasons why. Rana cannot tell us the reasons why, despite having the biggest, most dastardly terror attack on Indian soil, India continued to have Pakistan as the most favored nation. India never ruptured the diplomatic relations with this terror state. Worse, next year, in the Sharm el-Sheikh agreement, India pitifully capitulated and allowed Pakistan to essentially blame us for fomenting trouble in Balochistan. Rana cannot tell us the reasons why. Rana cannot tell us the reasons why senior Congress leaders said that 26/11 was nothing to do with Pakistan, but in fact was an RSS conspiracy. These are the things that Rana cannot tell us. Rana cannot tell us why CIA reports and raw reports of 2006 and 2008 that said a large terror attack on Mumbai is going to happen through the sea route
and LET is doing recce on hotels, specifically Taj. Why such intelligence reports were ignored? Rana cannot tell us that. Only governments can tell us. What can Rana tell us? I'll tell you why. Rana can tell us the identity of the Indian official who actually counseled the LET operatives and the masterminds to order Kasab to wear the Hindu sacred thread Kalava, so that it would appear as a most dastardly Hindu terror attack. 2611 would be called as a Hindu terror attack. Rana can tell us the identity of that person. Rana can tell us the identity of the Indian bureaucrat who gave him multiple entries through visas. Just imagine, a Pakistan army officer and ISI stooge is getting almost a free entry to and fro to multiple times to Mumbai to do recce, to even have with David Headley set up offices. Rana can tell us the identity of that officer. And finally, what can Rana tell us? Rana can tell us who were the people in Mumbai who helped the terrorists to perpetrate the worst terror attack on Indian soil, who gave them shelter, who saved them. This is what Rana can tell us.
Well, even as Kamru Choudhury and Vivek Srivastava are quibbling over what really happened then, I'm joined by Sandeep Unnikrishnan's father, our soldier, our hero, a man who lived and died for this country in the line of duty. Many thanks for speaking to Times Now today, Mr. Unnikrishnan. The entire nation remembers your son's sacrifice. Tahawwur Rana, the terrorist, has been brought back to India. How significant do you think this is?
Yeah, it's a really a good diplomatic effort, successful.
But Rana will now be questioned and there will be a trial. What are your expectations? People are wondering if it should be a fast trial. You've lost a son in the line of duty. What do you want?
No, as a citizen of India, I was expecting anything from the second day itself should happen, but there are restrictions, there are legal formalities to be completed, and he was not in our custody. So I think even after delay, we have achieved something, and we hope that some kind of more evidences, it will definitely come off.
Do you believe this will take the investigation and the links to Hafiz Saeed, who's still holed up in Pakistan? Do you think justice will be done?
I don't think so. See, maybe another one person, Coleman, David Coleman, he may be, we may be able to access people from other countries, but the real conspirators, they are protected and supported by their handlers. So I'm sure that definitely it may not be possible, at least in the near future, provided there will be a change of mindset or way of functioning of the government of Pakistan that may not be feasible in the near future anyway. So leave alone the conspirators, but I don't know. See, the public mind itself may be against us. So how do you see that? The real conspirators protected by them will be expedited, or I don't think so. Maybe maximum David Coleman, he may be the last point.
Absolutely, absolutely, you're right. But in 2008, there was no military retaliation after the Mumbai terror attacks. But after Uri and Pulwama, you did see this government responding with the surgical strikes, with the Balakot strikes. Do you think a military strike should have been done then?
Naturally, when you get beatings, you will rise to the occasion. That is what is happening, and then it has not been this thing like that. And then now we have proved that it is possible from our part to do, even though not on a large scale war, the real war or something like that, we will be able to do something, some harm to them. And after that, but see, my only request, or I can say my only wish is that, in between this kind of diplomacy, you should not go for peace talks, the so-called peace talks which has been happening in the previous regime. So that was not a thing like that. It was not practicable. So they don't deserve that. So we cannot say that, no, see, while engaging them in the battlefield, you go for peace talks. I don't think it is feasible. That should not happen. That's my wish.
Well, completely understand your wish. It's a son you've lost, but may I tell you, Mr. Unnikrishnan, this country bows down to the valor of Sandeep Unnikrishnan. You're a father. As a mother, I know what it means for you. Nobody can imagine the kind of pain you and your family have gone through. But all I can say is this country owes a debt of gratitude to you, your family, and Sandeep Unnikrishnan. I salute you. I salute you, Mr. Unnikrishnan, for being the father of a brave son, a man who laid down his life protecting others. Thank you for joining me. And Sushant Sareen, when you hear these personal accounts of those who have actually suffered, what does it make you think about the credit fact sheet that has been put out here?
So, Navika, since the beginning of this program, you've said, Shehzad also repeated it, never forgive and never forget. I agree with that, but I just want to add another thing to it. Always avenge. And I think that is something we have as a country never really done. We are now starting to do it. And I don't care if it takes 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, each one of those perpetrators, whether they were generals in the ISI who plotted this, whether they were these third-rate majors and captains, or there were these third-rate jihadis out there, or any of those journalists who backed them, I hold all of them guilty, and I say vengeance should be visited upon all of them, right? Because they committed an act of mass murder. That is one. Second, Mr. Unnikrishnan said something, and he is not Henry Kissinger, right? He is not Metternich. He is not Clausewitz. He has used simple common sense to say that if you are fighting against a country which is an inveterate enemy of yours, implacable enemy of yours, then you must not hold negotiations with them. But what did we do? Anand has already mentioned that a couple of months after the blood of the martyrs and the victims of 26/11 had not dried, and you had the spectacle of the Indian Prime Minister going to Sharm el-Sheikh and shaking hands with that third-rate Pakistani Prime Minister, right? And signing on something that there was nothing on Balochistan at that point of time. And yet he was giving them a leeway, some kind of a fig leaf. We did that. That was not all we did. Next year, in 2010, we rewarded the Pakistanis by not objecting to the GSP plus that the European Union was giving to the Pakistanis and giving them an advantage over us in exports of similar products to the European Union. This was done by Dr. Manmohan Singh, the great pacifist, the great economist who destroyed his own country's exports to the European Union to reward the Pakistanis. Why? Was it because he was born in Gah in Pakistan? I don't know. But I have serious questions about why we would reward the Pakistanis within a month, a year and a half of 26/11. This is not all. What were we doing? We were negotiating trade deals with the Pakistanis. Why were we doing that? Why were we trying to reward them? Oh, because they are going to give us MFN. They never gave you MFN. They gave you something, a bilateral arrangement, which was almost like MFN. And yet these geniuses, bureaucrats in the government of India, in the Ministry of External Affairs, these geniuses who later on became, national security advisors and others, were very happy with this goddamn thing which we were being given, this lollipop that the Pakistanis were giving us. It was only after Modi came in 2014 when he put an end to that, right? The point is, there is a country which is constantly launching attacks against you. And what are you doing? You're saying, okay, I'll turn the other cheek. How many times are you going to keep turning the other cheek? Now, this is the common sense approach which Mr. Unnikrishnan has just told you. But you have Oxford and Cambridge and bloody Harvard educated guys running the government, great lawyers who could not understand this simple reality. So I question my own countrymen, I question my own government for the kind of namby-pamby, weak-kneed kind of a response that we have given to Pakistani terrorism in India.
Well said, Sushant Sareen, and that's why this statement by Mr. P. Chidambaram clearly sends, an arrow through my heart simply because, taking credit. But hold on, hear it firsthand. Joining me now is former Indian Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal Fali Major, the man who was heading the Indian Air Force at that time. Fali Homi Major, I want to ask you, Chief, Tahawwur Rana landing in India, in Indian custody today, what does this mean in terms of a breakthrough in the investigations and taking forward the attack of 26/11 and the retribution that the country has been expecting following that terror attack?
It's fantastic news that the government today has finally got this guy through the extradition from the United States. And I'm quite sure that a lot of unknown aspects of the drastic 26/11 attack will come out once he's put through the interrogation. And I'm quite sure that he's going to sing along very well for us to know what happened. But I'm disappointed about one thing, that it's a little too late. Because if we had hit those guys then, probably this guy would have been history by now.
Well said. Chief, you had said this earlier as well, that you were ready, the Indian Air Force was ready, and the strike should have happened at that time. Can you take our viewers through what was the situation? Did you make a presentation to the then political leadership, and what was their response?
Soon after this attack, that our preparations had started, that this is a terrible, terrible attack. We've lost, I think, almost about 170 people. And I'm sure that the government would ask us to take some kind of action. At that stage, we didn't know whether it would be the Air Force, Army, or whoever. But we were quite sure, and as Air Force men, we prepared our own alternatives. And then... now coming to your question, yes, I think it was the third or fourth day after the attack that we were called into the Prime Minister's office, the three chiefs, and of course many others who were related, who were involved in this. And we were asked as to what kind of options we have to launch a retaliatory strike, a precision strike. We gave out our options that we will be ready to undertake the strike if asked in the next 18 to 24 hours. That's it.
What were you told when you offered that within 18 to 24 hours you would be ready? Was there a response from the other side?
No.
Nothing at all?
There was no response. And in such matters, whenever you put forward an option or a proposal, our mandate ends there. And then it is left to them to let us know. And once this was done, when we went back, we kept those plans active. Actually, we did it very quietly on a totally need-to-know basis, and only the people and forces which were involved, would get involved in this operation, were informed. But we maintained this readiness for quite a long period.
How long?
I think almost about 10, 15 days.
Should we have acted decisively then, or is the present dispensation of a nature that is more in tune for taking decisive decisions? What would be your view on that?
Mine would be a one-word answer, and that is Balakot. Now draw your own conclusions.
All right. A man of few words, Fali Homi Major, always forthright, always somebody who calls a spade, has made his verdict clear. Kamru Choudhury, you heard Fali Major. They were called to the Prime Minister's office. They were asked, how soon can you attack or how soon can you be ready? And they said 18 to 24 hours. And then nothing for 15 days. Kamru Choudhury, is this the credit that is not mentioned here?
Well, Navika ji, we all know that the Indian Army, Air Force does not dictate the foreign policy of a country. It's the elected government that does. If the Oxford educated or Harvard educated Prime Minister was so naive as to meet the Pakistani Prime Minister within 1.5 hours of 26/11, which Oxford educated Prime Minister invited the same Nawaz Sharif to the inauguration of his oath-taking ceremony? Who went to Pakistan to have biryani out there? These are all diplomatic processes that you maintain with your neighboring countries.
Shehzad Poonawalla, they are saying that the army or the Air Force could not have dictated action. You know, they asked for the readiness. The readiness was stated. Then,
look, Navika, this shows that even back then our armed forces had the capability, but it was the Rajnetik Ichha Shakti which was missing, and that is the fundamental difference today. That whereas Rajnetik Ichha Shakti, you have surgical strike, Balakot airstrike, these are the same people. They were busy partying on 26/11 and after 26/11. But even today, when Afzal and Yaqub are convicted by the Supreme Court, they say Afzal hum sharminda hai, tere qatil zinda hai for the courts. These are the same people. I can see Ameeque Jamei. You know, when the Ahmedabad and now here Jaipur blast convicts have been convicted, at that time they in 2012, 2013, 2014 onwards, they were trying to say that release the terrorists because they belong to a particular religion, and Allahabad High Court had put a stay on it saying that you are releasing terrorists today, will you give them Bharat Ratna tomorrow? So this is the fundamental difference. One is about patronage to terror and one is about action on terror without vote bank consideration.
Ameeque Jamei, please respond. Coming to you, Sushant.
No, I also want to come in for a minute.
Unmute yourself, Ameeque Jamei. आवाज तो आए.
नाविका मैम, देखिए, सबसे पहली बात तो ये है कि 17 साल लगे इस खूंखार शख्स को भारत को लाने में. सुशांत सरीन जी हमारे बीच में बहुत ही सीजन पर्सन है, जो भारत की स्ट्रेटजी को, हमारी जो सुरक्षा है उस पर मुझे लगता है कि उनसे बड़ा भारत में ब्रेन तो शायद बहुत कम लोग होंगे. लेकिन हम ये जानते हैं कि चलिए माना कि यूपीए 1 यूपीए 2 के प्राइम मिनिस्टर बड़े ही कमजोर थे, इसीलिए शायद वो सरकार 14 में चली गई होगी और देश में एक ऐसे प्रधानमंत्री का अवतरण हुआ जो इसीलिए हुआ था कि वो देश की सरहदों को आतंकवाद से सुरक्षा करेंगे. तो तहव्वुर राना के बारे में अगर आपको सुशांत सिंह भाई बताइएगा कि जी.के. पिल्लाई साहब जो देन होम सेक्रेटरी थे, आज उनका भी बयान पूरे देश में चल रहा है. उन्होंने कहा कि तहव्वुर राना क्या है? तहव्वुर राना का बॉस जो है वो डेविड कॉलमन हेडली है. जो सबसे बड़ा मास्टरमाइंड था इस देश में. हमारे जिगर पे भारत के ऐसा उसने चोट दिया है जो हम किसी दिन भी नहीं भूल पाएंगे हमारी शहादतों को याद करते हुए. लेकिन 50 मेजर टेररिस्ट अटैक नरेंद्र मोदी की 14-25 रिजिम में भारत में हुए. क्या आतंकवाद इस देश में रुक गया? प्रधानमंत्री जी दोस्ती करने के लिए तो जाते हैं पाकिस्तान, हम चाहते हैं कि आप जाइए दोस्ती के लिए, लेकिन जब आप गए नवाज शरीफ के यहाँ घर पे उनकी वालिदा से मिले, आप हुकूमतों मेरे भारत सरकार को कि हमारी रौ तक को नहीं मालूम था कि आप जा रहे हैं, आपने क्या बात करी? मानते हैं कि मनमोहन सिंह जी को नहीं होना चाहिए था, वो प्रधानमंत्री के लायक नहीं थे, लेकिन जो देश का प्रधानमंत्री इसलिए आया कि वो आतंकवाद को
इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री रहे 2008 के बाद भी क्योंकि आपकी पार्टी ने सपोर्ट दिया था, आपकी पार्टी ने बेल आउट किया था. सुशांत सरीन, you know, attacks are made by the political parties here against Prime Minister Modi. I have no objection with that. But Suhel, I'm coming to you after Sushant. Sushant, respond.
No, I'm not going to respond to these guys. They are just indulging in complete nonsense. The point I really want to agitate on is that, and I agree with Kamru Choudhury that yes, the decision to attack a country or not attack a country is a political one. But it's a decision taken by politicians of India. You don't ask visiting American delegation for permission to attack Pakistan and then tell them that why don't you go to Pakistan and talk to the Pakistanis and tell them that we will do an attack so that we'll satisfy our public opinion. And the Pakistanis ask them to buzz off. This is what this government did at that point in time. They are trying to
don't behave like right. Don't behave like a right person. Listen to me. बोलो ना 14 से 25 के प्रधानमंत्री को क्यों नहीं हमला करते? हम साथ देंगे.
This guy was talking like this quiet.
हिम्मत नहीं है प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को कुछ बोलते हुए. हिम्मत नहीं है. Don't behave like a bajrang dal activist.
Navika, one second. I am very confused.
Bajrang dal.
Navika, I am very बजरंग दल. अभी आप प्रेस कर रहे थे, बोले थे इस बिगेस्ट ब्रेन. अभी बजरंग दल बन गए. मनमोहन सिंह की सरकार को सपोर्ट किया, बोले मनमोहन लायक नहीं थे. अरे आतंकियों को आपने छुड़ाया. मुस्लिम है इसलिए कहकर कोर्ट ने रोका.
Barack Obama writes in his book, Suhel Seth, can you see the Indian politics now breaking out on this issue? Coming to you, Anand. Suhel.
It is an absolute shame that on a day that we have brought back a man who is criminal, we are now wanting to take credit for who brought him back. That is irrelevant. What are you going to tell Mr. Amit or whoever else? What are you going to tell their families? Do their families care whether it is your political dispensation? Let me tell you, Navika, something that I didn't say this in my opening remarks. Kapil Sibal was launching his book of poems along with Guldar Saab, and it was being held at the terrace of the Chambers. The Towers wing was operational, the Heritage wing wasn't. I was sitting at the Chambers when I met Mr. Dutt, who was the head of the NSG. He was visiting Bombay. You know what he told me? And I wrote about it. He said that we had no intelligence on the ground about the sleeper cells that were active in Bombay. This is what Mr. Dutt said. Should we not resolve all these issues? For Chidambaram to issue a credit sheet is despicable. Who was in power at that time? The Congress. Begin to take responsibility. 1 minute, Mr. Amit, sorry, sir. I didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt me. I don't belong to any political dispensation. 1 minute. Don't interrupt me. I don't care who you are and which political party you represent. I don't give a monkey's toss.
आप राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा से खेल
रहे हो।
सुनिए
14 से
25 के बीच में कौन प्रधानमंत्री है?
मैं जब अपनी बात खत्म करूं तब आप बीच में टांग मारिएगा।
नाम लोगे 14-25 के बीच में कौन प्रधानमंत्री है? हिम्मत नहीं है? 14-25 के बीच में कौन प्रधानमंत्री है?
14 क्या?
14-25 के बीच के रिजीम में
कौन
प्रधानमंत्री है? एक इंडियन कोर्ट से वारंट निकाला गया। उसके बाद ये केस ने तेजी पकड़ी। थोड़ा पढ़ लिया करिए अमीक जमाई।
ये अमीक जमाई की पार्टी ने सिमी पर प्रतिबंध लगा तो उसका विरोध किया था। They are going to talk about terrorism. They oppose the ban on Simi. They oppose ban on PFI. They released terrorists who were convicted in the blast in UP. ये ज्ञान दे रहे terrorism पर सुशांत सरीन को और फुल सेट को। धन्य है प्रभु, धन्य है। उठा ले जगन्नाथ।
Ladies and gentlemen, we did a small social media survey on the questions that arise tonight. Tahawwur Rana today, Hafiz Saeed next. Yes say 75% of the people, 75.4, no say 15.4, can't say 9.2%. That's what the belief is, that Hafiz Saeed will be next. We also asked this question, who has delivered on terror better? Congress, 15.4%, BJP, 84.6%. That is the view of the viewers, the people of India tonight. And the questions that they are asking tonight, Chidambaram says it's not Modi's success. What about reduction in terror activities from Kashmir to Kanyakumari? Question asked by Sanjay Mishra from UP. Can Tahawwur Rana be punished in a way that it sets an example? Om Prakash Khandelwal from Rajasthan asking that question. Why shouldn't it be seen as Modi's success when he was targeted for the delay? Surendra Nathani, Jharkhand, writing this question from Jharkhand. Did Congress delay action so that it could spread saffron terror narrative? Manjula from UP. These are the statements of viewers, of people of India. Should we not hear the voice from the ground? And should we not today begin to say, this is the beginning of avenging 26/11? Ladies and gentlemen, with a hope and a prayer, I end this show, because the 166 people who died that night are not the only people who carry the hurt in their heart. Their entire families, their friends, all of them carry the scars of 26/11. Justice needs to be done as soon as possible. It's taken long, but success is finally here. We leave it at that. Thank you very much. Good night.